March Madness is upon us, and couple that with the NBA season is going on, actually going to the playoffs. A better way to bet on those games and games in other sports like the Premier League and everything else, or even Major League Soccer, than betus.com, where you can get 125% of the sign-up bonus, which is up to $2,500 by using the promo code TKT for the Klown Times. So what are these other perks here? You can bet on the go. You can bet anytime, anywhere on your mobile device. You get fast pass, or you get paid immediately every single time. And last but not least, you can you could do live betting where you can bet during the game, getting the early and the best lines. Again, use my promo code TKT for the Klown Times to get up to 125% of the sign-up bonus, which is up to $2,500. So again, not to sound like a broken record, but go to betus.com where the game begins. Welcome to tonight's Monday night edition of the Klown Podcast. I'm Scott Burks. Hello. This is my partner, Dwayne Nash. Please check him out on the yard /HBCU Sports, raps about all things. That's a scratch my head. HBCU Sports, as well as Sleazy with it every Tuesday night on Facebook Live. Please catch him, the coach, and Sweet Lou. You'll be glad you did. Also on YouTube, streams to YouTube as well, if I'm not mistaken, right? So
yes,
he'll have more information on that later as we get into it. So check him out there. Also, last but not least, we check out his great work on herosports.com, where that's about all things HBCU athletics as they pertain to HBCU sports. You see my hair here. This is my website, The Klown Times. That's www.theklowntimes.net. Please check me out there. I may have a couple posts this week. I've been focusing so much on the video side, and plus last week was my son's spring break. My mom was in town, so I took a little break. But anyway, so looking for some stuff this week. Also, you can find me on Facebook as well. So whether your smartphone, desktop, laptop, wherever you are, wherever you be, just type in the Klown Times in the search window. You'll find me there. And also, speaking of which, get the merch.
Get that merch.
CafePress.com. Please search for the Klown Times Sports. The link to that, as well as Dwayne's links, will be in the description once this YouTube, this segment will post it to YouTube tomorrow, just combobulated. So you find it there as well. And one last thing, please, as always, continue to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe. I'm picking up a few more, almost followers, subscribers. So I got a goal to get to 1,000 this year. So again, I celebrate the small victories. So please continue to like, comment, shares, and subscribe. It'll be all good. All right. So I mentioned that there wasn't any podcasts last week because, spring break and my mother was in town. So suffice it to say, a whole lot transpired in the NFL world, HBCU sports world, and we're going to talk a little bit about some fun stuff if we have time near the end. So I'll tease that out. I won't share with y'all exactly what it is just yet, but we'll get to it. Well, first, let's start with what dropped today as far as the Rooney Rule. So we all know that there still is a scarcity of Black and minority candidates and BIPOC. So that would be Black, Indian, and other people of color. That's what that acronym stands for. And mainly because we noticed that a lot of these new head coaches are being hired almost primarily from the offensive side of the football. Because we all know, or those of us that keep the score, like me, know that there are quite a few of Black assistant head coaches on the defensive side of the ball. There are quite a few Black defensive coordinators, right? We could add my beloved Steelers to that mix. When Terrell Austin was promoted to become the defensive coordinator, when the previous defensive coordinator retired, Keith Butler retired. So, and then we also brought on Brian Flores as a high-ranking defensive assistant. So I personally think that he's the heir apparent once Mike Tomlin decides to walk away, but that's not here nor there. That's not podcast and other stuff. Yeah, that's right. I said it. But anyway, so the NFL decides, you know what? Let's just do something here. Let's expand it so that we can focus more on the offensive side of football when it comes to offensive assistants and hiring for BIPOC and comes to find out women. So here's the quote. I'm reading for ESPN.com, basically saying all 32 NFL teams will hire minorities offensive assistant coach for the 2022 season, which is part of a series of policy enhancements announced Monday, early today, to address the league's ongoing diversity efforts. A coach can be, quote, a female or a member of an ethnic or racial minority, end quote, according to the policy adopted by NFL owners during their annual meeting and will be paid from a league-wide fund. One last thing about that is the coach must work closely with the head coach and the offensive staff with the goal of increasing minority participation in the pool of offensive coaches that eventually produces the most sought-after candidates for head coaching positions. Now, look, at first blush, people have bandied the following about that, basically saying that this is like the new age affirmative action. Not that the Rooney Rule wasn't affirmative action as it was, but when we say new age affirmative action, so to speak, that means that just like the affirmative action in this country right now, if you look at any statistical data, one would see that most of the people, the biggest group who largely benefit are white women. So I say that because it said they expanded to women, which is great, awesome. If they have the credentials, cool. I have no problem with that. I'm just saying that people would be led to believe that in a few years, once it becomes the norm to see women on the sidelines, that they're going to wait for the teams to hire mostly white women and come up and then just fall back on the age-old, well, they're the most, we hire the most qualified and just leave it at that. Same as these sometimes retread head coaches or head coaches like who come out of nowhere who folks believe do not have any business being a head coach, a la Joe Judge. We hear the same thing. But look, I see what the NFL is trying to do. I think the NFL looked at what happened this past offseason and went, oh shit, right? And then combine that with, of course, what Brian Flores, I mentioned him earlier, his lawsuit against the NFL, especially against the Giants, calling that a sham interview. If we believe or choose to believe what Brian Flores said about what Bill Belichick texted him to be true. So again, I can't call it now. This is a step in the right direction. Yes, it is, because they're making them do it. They're making these NFL GMs and owners hire people who don't look like them, don't talk like them, do not share the same gender, whatever, right? Or probably in some cases don't worship like them. Okay, they're finally making them do it, because keep this in mind, how bad things were. The Rooney Rule before, as the latest tweak, before today's tweak, actually incorporated some draft compensation.
Yeah.
If they hired a brother or other people of color, persons of color, to be their team's head coach, respective team's head coach, right? And to the fact that they still didn't do it, the fact that
it's like F them picks.
It's just, I mean, because the LA Rams and Cleveland Browns and a few others notwithstanding, teams value draft picks. That's the ultimate currency, right? Because those are things you could cultivate. You could parlay that into acquiring a superstar player or quarterback. You could use the side to plug holes, build viable depth, right? Teams could be flexible. They have enough draft picks in the arsenal. It's the ultimate currency. So for teams to pretty much say, as you said, fuck them picks. You know what I'm saying? we're going to hire whoever the hell we want. And that's their right. Don't get me wrong. That is, don't get us wrong here. That is an owner's and a GM's right to do whatever the hell or in the case of like the Chicago Bears and Detroit Lions, Detroit Lions and Tennessee Titans, or she wants. Because they run the team. That's their right.
Technically, the Washington Commanders as well.
Right, the Washington Commanders as well, right.
But we know who's really running the strings in DC.
Unfortunately for you guys, yes. So anyway, it's their right, but still, the fact that if there's draft compensation and they still refuse to do it, it's like, are they really going to? It's even though they also said, one last thing before I turn over to you, that they're saying that these picks, these hires, offensive hires I mentioned in this newer version of the Rooney Rule today, must take place in activities with head coaches, offensive staff. Must. So it's not like they're going to send them over, they ain't going to hold this out like a wallflower. They must be involved. This won't be a sham thing, right? I guess addressing Brian Flores' language in the lawsuit called a sham interview with the Giants. But I'm just interested to see how this will play out. Because again, these are billionaires. Yeah. It's hard to tell billionaires what the hell to do. It's hard to convince them to hire someone who doesn't look like them, talk like them, share the same gender, worship like them, even things like that. So I'm hopeful, but I don't know how this. I gotta to coin your phrase, let the pizza bake. I gotta see how this plays out after a year's time and make my own conclusions. So right now, again, if the NFL owners did what they wanted to do with draft pick compensation promise, I don't know how this will fly. I don't know how this will actually fly at this point.
I'm not necessarily, I'm not going to hold my breath on this. And just to quote you, to quote me, I too am going to let the pizza cook and see how this plays out. But I'm going to go ahead and correct you a little bit.
Okay.
The Browns, nothing bad, but the Browns and the Raiders, not the Raiders, but the Rams actually do value draft picks because they just use it differently. They just ended up trading them for superstars. So they basically just stockpiled them and use it as currency that way. So it's valued differently. Instead of actually using picks to draft young talent and cultivate it within your team, they decided to go another route, which of course we learned it worked for the Rams this past season. But God, to your whole point, first and foremost, I got to address the whole aspect that they're looking to solely address the offensive side of the ball. Yes, there have been a lot of head coaching hires that to some degree were some sort of offensive coach, be it an offensive coordinator, offensive assistant, whatever. But you're now starting to make me believe with this new initiative that there weren't any talented minority coaches already in the league on the offensive side of the ball. It just happens to be that the places where they may have been potential candidates, like a Byron Leftwich, like Eric Bieniemy, like a Pep Hamilton, a Hugh Jackson, all of these guys that were at one point in time or currently are offensive coordinators in the NFL that never got an opportunity, well, except for Hugh Jackson, never got an opportunity to be a head coach somewhere. Or in Hugh's example, never got a chance to be a head coach for another opportunity with a different organization other than Cleveland, who back then
1 year in Oakland. He only just had 1 year in Oakland, but he should have got more than 1 year in Oakland. He should have got more than 1 year. But go ahead.
Exactly, right. Yeah. But and then it just, especially in Cleveland, just astonished me that how that organization used to be at one point in time has now completely did a 180 with this new GM staff that they currently have there. And then, of course, with the trade that we're going to talk about a little bit later, have looking to improve that team.
Right.
But, to say that there currently weren't talented minority coaches on the offensive side of the ball currently in the league is laughable to me already.
Right. That's bullshit. That's total bullshit. Yeah.
But, you're starting this initiative to hire more. Okay, fine, cool. We'll see how this works. My biggest issue is the fact that they have this unified fund that they're looking to build. So that now you're making everybody, all the NFL owners, put into this kitty to go ahead and hire all of these minority coaches.
Right.
You're telling me that these coaches weren't even willing to come out of their own pocket to hire these coaches? They got to come up with a pot to do this? I find that to be laughable.
That's crazy.
I do.
As if there weren't any, to your point, I mean, we know about the Byron Leftwich, who reportedly was offered on his way to be offered a contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They should go back home, right? But apparently he didn't trust Trent Baalke, the GM, who somehow still has a job. I don't know how he still has a job. Anyway, it is what it is. And a few others, the Pep Hamiltons, who was once thought to be on the fast track before former Indianapolis coach Chuck Pagano threw him under the bus for to cover his own shortcomings with Andrew Luck and everything else. So, and there, of course, Airbnb.
Yeah.
Every year, same song, same bullshit, right? It's like at first he didn't call the plays, then Andy Reid told him to call calling duties to him, despite the fact that other people who work for him, Doug Peterson, never called plays under him. And I can name a couple others who coached under him, never called plays. So which is it? Nagy. Nagy is another guy, right? Who used to coach in Chicago. Never called plays underneath Andy Reid. Which is it? You keep adjusting the goal. You keep pushing the goalpost further away. You come on now. Just come on and say it. I mean, I don't know how good of an interview he is. Maybe he interviews poorly. I don't know. Maybe he's waiting for a better opportunity to come. I don't know. I mean, but it's still, if you combine that with the fact that the Houston Texans was this close to hiring the immortal Josh McCown, who at the time was the assistant high school coach. Never coached a head coach a day in his life. They were
he played Tecmo Bowl, though.
Yes, well, there you go. But they were reportedly this close to name his ass the new head coach of the Houston Texans, which would have all but validated Brian Flores' lawsuit. Which is why I still believe that the NFL, someone, I don't know if it was Roger Goodell rather, Jerry Jones from the other owners around the league calling them up and said, "What the fuck are you doing? Better not hire that fool. You want us to get sued and lose?" So this is why, of course, they hired Lovie Smith, but they named Josh McCown to their staff. So anyway, it is what it is. So the point is this. That's why I have to sit on this for a year. I have to see if the teams are going to take this shit really seriously. Because again, for a league that's over 70% Black, as far as players personnel. And yes, strides have been made in the front office. We see it with your beloved Washington Commanders. We see we have Amar Khan, who's our cap guru in Pittsburgh. Okay, and there's many others. I mean, there's
Brad Holmes in Detroit.
Detroit. And speaking of Detroit, their head coach, I forget his name, former player, his most of his confidants as far as coordinators are Black.
Oh, Dan Campbell. So
Dan Campbell, so things like that.
Him being crazy aside, he's hiring Black coaches. Okay, cool. You want to go out there and fight kneecaps? Okay, cool.
Well, there you go. But hey, gotta give him props. And of course, we mentioned Bruce Arians, alluded to it earlier. All of his top lieutenants are Black, and he has quite a few women on the staff. So he's ahead of the curve. He's ahead of the curve as far as I'm concerned.
Most definitely.
But we see in Cleveland too with their GM. I forget that brother's name, but we see it, and there's a few other places that they've been making strides to bring more people of color and women into the front office. Okay. But we just want to see, we just don't have people in the more visible position of leadership, and that's head coach. And a league that also has made strides with Black quarterbacks. Right. It's a 180. So it's not like when we were growing up in the 80s we had Randall Cunningham, Doug Williams, Warren Moon.
Warren Moon, yeah.
And not forget Vince Evans in Chicago, for those of you who are old school, you know, it's no longer just a handful. So as a matter of fact, the top quarterbacks, most of the top quarterbacks are African-American.
Yeah.
Are brothers. So, I mean, look, we just said last frontier, right? Head coach. We went from a high of what? I think it was 8 black head coaches at one point.
It was between 6 and 8 at one point, not too long ago, about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, if memory serves me
with
correctly.
shitty jobs. Todd Bowles at the Jets. Come on now. I mean, you know, and plus Steve Wilkes got fired for only a year in Arizona.
Yeah.
So they could bring in Cliff Kingsbury when they were like trying to make when they made Kyle Murray the top pick in the draft. So
the Van Joseph over in Denver.
Yeah, see that yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean it is what it is. But I have to wait and see how that transpires, because again, it's too soon to tell, too early to tell, obviously. You gotta just just watch it play out. I just have my doubts. I'll just be honest about you with you on that. I have my doubts. Yeah. But we'll see. At least they expanded to women, which is great.
True.
But we just want to see again how this plays out. Well, speaking of playing out over the last couple of weeks, man, Deshaun Watson went from not wanting to be in Cleveland to say, okay, I choose you, Cleveland. Because remember, it was reported that it was going to be between Atlanta and New Orleans, which, you know, I must point out is like have heavily populated African-American fan bases, which would make life easier for him to fit in, because, you know, with all the allegations with the 22, like reported sexual misconduct from massage therapists. But I'm guessing, then again, if someone obviously that amount of money, Watson had 230 million reasons, right, to consider.
All guaranteed, right?
Cleveland. Fully guaranteed. Fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract, which, by the way, includes like a baseline for this season at $1 million, because they pretty much figure that there's a suspension coming out of the pipe.
Yeah.
And so it won't hurt him, but so much for salary wise, because obviously you lose salary when you're suspended. But, you know, look, I understand Cleveland want to do this trade. I mean, it's just two different angles, right? The first angle is this. I understand why Cleveland want to do the trade, because let's just face it, they weren't going to sign Baker Mayfield to an extension. They weren't. No. And I know that Baker Mayfield played hurt last year. He died. He almost died from the cause, essentially because he hurt his shoulder early in the season, and he played through it. He didn't want to get surgery, and that hampered his throwing motion. Even though it was his non-throwing shoulder, he's a torque passer. He does like this, and if you do like this, it kind of, you know,
you're still putting pressure on that shoulder,
right? And it ruins his throwing motion. So
yeah, I'm
not making an excuse for him. I'm just telling you what it is, right? And so I understand Cleveland want to do it. You know, they traded away the 3 first-rounders, but I understand why they want to do it. But I just look at it this way, man. In a league that supposedly values women, what does this message send to not only the fan base, but to the league-wide? I mean, the sports world. That, you know, I get giving people second chances. I mean, hell, there are people who got 3rd and 4th chances.
Yeah.
Okay, if you can play, you can play. You're going to get chances. That's life. But, and I know that he was found not criminally liable, if you will, because 2 different juries did not indict him, refused to indict him. Okay, but 22 cases is 22. It's more than one. Okay, it's one thing if it's one or maybe 2. It could be he said, she said deal. You know, people could easily make the case, you know, they're in it for the money. He must have did something. He must have stiffed them on the tip or what? Yeah, who knows? But it's hard for me to believe that 22 random massage therapists will get together and say, you know what? Let's cook up this story right here. And I know they're all represented by one hotshot lawyer, but for them to come together, coalesce, and just say, hey, this same thing happened to me. It's hard, again, it's hard for me to believe that all 22 conspired. In some cases, and because some people, some of the, I think almost all of them, I think most of them put their names to it. Yeah. So it's hard for me to believe that they would risk their livelihoods or risk becoming radioactive. Yeah. By making shit up. So again, I don't know what happened. We obviously do not know what happened. I know he was found, he wasn't criminally indicted twice. He wasn't indicted twice in criminal court, 2 different courts. But damn, that's 22 women though. How he's never going to get his reputation back. You can forget about that. And it's going to be difficult to do so. Exactly. And people are going to still think, no matter what he says, no matter, he does great work in the community. He did so in Houston. People love him in Houston. But it's hard for me to believe that A, he's going to get that same love and reputation back, and B, that people, no matter what good he does in the community, no matter if he keeps this charitable good acts up or not, he's aside from that, he said to be a good dude off the field. There are going to be people who want him in jail and destitute no matter what. He's going to live with that for the rest of his career, and that comes from bad choices. I mean, that's why dudes have one therapist, no more than 2 therapists that they go to over and over again, build a bit better rapport with. Yeah. In some cases, some of those dudes take their masseuses with them on road trips. That eliminates all that. That's just bad decision making. To find them on the web too, nah. But we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Again, I understand the Browns wanted to upgrade for Baker Mayfield. I don't blame them. But I want to see, this is going to be very interesting how this plays out, and probably in that locker room too. I know, right? Again, I'm going to be intrigued to see how this plays out. It probably won't fully play out until either halfway through the upcoming season, the 2022 season, or until the 2023 season, based upon what type of suspension that he receives. But to your point on how is this going to be perceived through the fans in the league, you know, of course, with the breast cancer awareness initiative that the NFL has, and of course with their intentional marketing to bring in women over the past 20 years. This is just another case in the NFL where it appears as though that the actions of their players against women are completely disregarded by ownership based upon the quality of the player. Right. And then, of course, again, you know, the name who I don't like to invoke that was brought up again in terms of fairness in the NFL based upon who's being brought back and who's not being brought back in their views, of course, is one Colin Kaepernick. Yeah. And everyone, if you've been watching the show or listening to the show for the past few years, you already know my opinion on Colin Kaepernick as an athlete, not as an activist. Because of course I support his political views and his political stance. As do I, yes. But I've also said that, you know, unfortunately, and this is just another case where the league has proven me right, that, you know, based upon how you play in this league, what have you done for me lately, Janet Jackson style play? Yep. That's how you're going to be looked upon. That's the deal. That's the deal. People don't understand that, unfortunately. And what I want you to do is look at, I understand Colin Kaepernick took a team to the Super Bowl in, what was that, 2015? Yep, 2020. Against the Ravens, yes, correct. That's the Harbaugh Bowl, the Harbaugh Bowl. Yeah, right? He did that in 2015, but if you look at his stats from his last season, in comparison to Deshaun Watson's stats his last season, there's a stark difference. And there's a reason why the Cleveland Browns gave up what they gave up to get him, right, wrong, or indifferent. It's a quarterback-driven league, man. It is. It is an elite quarterback-driven league more than anything else. But the thing is, to your point on his
his reputation. Scott, you know this better than anyone else. With Ben Roethlisberger, of course, his reputation took several hits with the allegations that came across him as it pertains to sexual harassment and rape, and the dents that he took early on. But if you look at the reception that he received this last season, it's almost as if it was completely forgotten.
Yeah.
And I think the further away we get from this, especially
it's a long road. It's gonna be a long road, though.
it's gonna be a long road. Yes, and it's gonna have to be a road that's gonna have to be littered with success, which, as we already know, with the history of the Cleveland Browns, is going to be extremely difficult to do in that city. But if he's capable of doing it in that city, yeah, I think it's going to be very Ben Roethlisberger-esque in terms of the way that he's perceived afterwards. But you look at the negative side, but you also got to look at the forgiveness side, especially with him not having any legal ramifications in terms of the charges. Of course, he's still facing the civil suits, but the other charges that have been dropped on his behalf, and that's what the league was waiting for, in their eyes, the more important charges to be dropped. And once they went ahead and pounced on them.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting, man, because like you said, I remember when that second thing with Ben Roethlisberger went down with what happened when he sexually assaulted that young lady in the Georgia bathroom. I was like, get rid of him.
Yeah.
I don't care if he won us a second Super Bowl in 3 seasons. Get rid of him. Fuck him. At that point, I was done with him. I was done with it.
And rightfully so. And there were a lot of fans in the league and Steelers fans that felt that way.
A lot of fans were done with them. People tend to forget how done with them they were. Some people still, to this day, didn't forgive him for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that he won us 2 Super Bowls, took us to 3 Super Bowls. But I'm like, dude, you're probably not the best dude in the world off the field. And if those reports to be true about him being a diva on top of that, I'm like, how can you do that? So it's going to be a long road for Deshaun Watson.
Most definitely.
He's fighting to get his rep back. That's damn near impossible right now. 22. That's the number. The magic number is 22.
Yeah,
he's gonna have a hard time working his way back. And the next question is, how many games is going to be suspended? You know he's going to be suspended.
Yeah.
You know he's going to be suspended. Ben Roethlisberger got 6 games at that Georgia incident, reduced to 4.
Yeah.
But he got suspended. Tom Brady was suspended for 4 games for deflating footballs, allegedly deflating footballs, which was a whole much ado about nothing, really. But in the grand scheme of things, so basically, if Deshaun Watson gets less than 8 games, I'd be shocked. It'll probably be 8 games at first, probably reduced to 6. But I'd be shocked if he doesn't really get suspended for 8 games. I would be very shocked. Very shocked. And the Browns seem to know that. That's why they made this base salary $1 million.
His salary is what it is,
And made a lot of that first year, that guaranteed money, bonus money, signing bonus. You can't touch that. So I'll say this. While they'll be interested to see how they'll play on Cleveland, how about the AFC right now? We already know what happened what's going down in the AFC West.
Yes.
With of course, we all know what happened with Russell Wilson be traded to the Denver Broncos. Great try by the Broncos, by the way. We all knew what happened with them. I think was Chandler Jones signed the free agent deal with the Raiders.
Yes, sir.
So beef of the pass rush, and the Chargers traded for Khalil Mack. Is going back to the Raiders. Oh, and by the way, Devontae Adams got traded from Green Bay. He signed a huge new contract with the Raiders to be reunited with his boy, Derek Carr, from college, who is like best friend. They've been best friends since college.
Fresno State.
And plus, He just couldn't stand Aaron Rodgers if you believe the reports. He got tired of Aaron Rodgers. But anyway, even though they made beautiful music together, stats-wise, but he got tired. The reporter got tired of him. So that's the AFC West, and that's the AFC West alone.
Mm-hmm.
The AFC North says, hold my beer and watch this. And this is Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. Cincinnati signed some offensive linemen to address that weakness. So remember what I told my boy Dre, my friend brother Dre, if their offensive line is even average, they'll be dangerous because they're good everywhere else.
Yeah.
And then Baltimore, they're going to have a healthier squad. I don't see them coming down with all those cases of COVID, all those knee injuries hitting their defensive secondary again, right? And then Ben is gone, so that frees up a lot of salary cap money that was sorely used to go elsewhere with sounding people, potent, like competent people on our offensive line. Not superstars, but competent people on our offensive line. We got Miles Jack to a 2-year deal from Jacksonville, which I'm still shocked we're able to get Miles Jack. We're reportedly working on a deal with Honey Badger.
Okay.
So to go with Mika Fitzpatrick, and we still have TJ Watt. So defensively, we're straight. Yeah. And we signed some interior defensive linemen as well. But in the move that was not sexy, but was in the step in the right direction, Mitch Trubisky to a 2-year deal. Down, which will allow Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, to fully implement a system which includes a lot of RPOs and motion, pre-snap motion, which Roethlisberger excused because he did what he wanted to do. Again, diva, operative word. So, so that should improve the Steelers. And then Cleveland has to show them. They don't have them all of this year, but they have them going forward. So it's wild. And on top of all that, the AFC says, we're not going to get left out.
No.
Give me Tyreek Hill, send them to Miami with a free agent deal on top of that.
Yes.
So now Buffalo went from feeling like Clemson to being almost like Oregon and improving SC. So, or the Big 12 really with Oklahoma and Texas. So, and New England is going to improve too. Yeah. And then last but not least, the AFC South doesn't want to fill the ACC in football anymore. So they're like, watch this. Indianapolis Colts to Matt Ryan, come on down. We got it. That's great for Indianapolis. That's outstanding for Indianapolis. A great offensive line, a stellar running game, a hellified defense. They play indoors too. Yeah. Man, the AFC is going to be fucking bananas, man. A 9-8 team may come out. A 9-8 team may come out and win the Super Bowl.
I know,
AFC.
Right?
It's crazy.
Very interesting to see exactly how this entire conference plays the season and who ends up winning the entire conference. Because now, you know, a lot of the teams that were good last year are going to be good again. And then you had teams like Denver, Indianapolis that didn't make the playoffs, but was a game away from doing so, that get better. Cleveland, we'll see what they end up looking like based upon the suspension. The Steelers, we'll see exactly how they do. You got to remember, Mitch Trubisky did take that Bears team that he was on to the playoffs when he was a starter with a great defense, and we already see that the Steelers have that too. So there's going to be a lot of competitiveness in the AFC. And my God, I can't wait till the season starts to see exactly how everything's going to play out. Yeah. But yeah, that whole that the addition of Devontae Adams to the Raiders with that the skill position players that they currently have out there with Hunter Renfrow, Deshaun Jackson, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs in the backfield. That offense is going to be very interesting behind Josh McDaniels. But then, like you said, with Tyreek Hill going to Miami, oh my God, with Jalen Waddle, right? The other wideout that they have there. Yeah. You put
Jalen
those two
Waddle,
guys
that's
together.
right. That's correct.
Those two speedsters there together. It's going to be very interesting to see how Tua handles this, right? And to make matters more interesting, the Dolphins go ahead and they sign Teddy Bridgewater as their backup. Now, yes, Tua has had a recent history of dealing with injuries, but there are a lot of people that believe. I don't know how they necessarily fully feel in Miami just yet, because of course they have their new head coach in McDonald down there. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly how this entire thing plays out, because he was asked, and that's being Teddy Bridgewater, what his role was going to be in Miami. Excuse me. He was asked whether or not, he was talked about what his role was going to be. And he told the press, basically, he does not want to reveal what that information was, right, which leads to me to believe that there has to be some sort of discussion of him potentially being the starter at some point, not just due to injury, but if Tua doesn't play well. And yes, now he has the pieces to do so with that talented tight end that they have, the two wideouts that they have. I forget the running back signing that they just added as well, that they have in that offense. Mm-hmm. With this new offense that they have coming in, it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what the Miami Dolphins do and how they're going to end up competing in that relatively competitive AFC East outside of the New York Jets.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what new coach Mike McDaniel. I almost call him Michael McDonald, but Mike McDaniel, old school reference for you young boys and girls. Where he
lovely beard, most definitely lovely beard. Yeah.
Yes.
Minute by minute.
Yes.
With a full belief.
Got to be beer. Anyone's part of the beer gang. It's all right with me. So there you go. But he comes from that Shanahan tree, right?
Yeah.
So you've seen what they've done with the running game, not only through Kyle Shanahan, but that he learned that from his daddy, Mike Shanahan.
Yeah, but see, that's where this thing comes full circle with our first discussion.
Mm-hmm.
He was an offensive assistant. He wasn't even an offensive coordinator. He wasn't really calling plays because Kyle was calling plays.
That's right.
But because he's knowledgeable in that Shanahan style of offense, he spent a lot of time with Kyle, mm-hmm, who of course learned from his daddy. That's how he gets the job. So yeah.
And he's multiracial.
I forgot. Well, I guess that is a minority.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And he's familiar with Mike Jones. He's like Mike Jones. So you gotta give him props for that. Okay, I was gonna say this to the end of the show, but I want to bring it up now because it plays into what I want to talk about in the HBCU segment, which we get a kick out of. We all saw what happened. We heard that slap heard around the world, right? With Will Smith pimp-slapping Chris Rock. Look, I'm not going to spend too much time on this shit. I did a TikTok video too, but I'll say this, man. At first, I was like, of course, man, you don't go out to dude's wife like that, blah, blah, blah. Late last night, my wife asked me, she was asking, well, what if someone came up to me like that? Right. So you know how wives like,
they Superman. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Boy, if you don't answer right,
you don't get this kitty. You don't get this kitty anymore. You won't. And plus, you won't tell me anything. You can't tell me what to do going forward either. Y'all run this house. But I slept on it. And I came to the conclusion today was that first of all, dudes and women at the Oxfords who are comedians have been doing this for the last 1 billion plus years.
Yeah.
Busting people's chops, right? Yeah. Deflating egos. Mm-hmm. Just for Hollywood to say for a quick minute, at least, we don't take ourselves seriously.
Yeah.
And Will Smith was laughing at some of the show. Some people call that laughter angry laughs. Like, yeah, all right.
Well, if you say so, but okay.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't until he noticed that Jada wasn't feeling too comfortable. That's when he walked on the stage, which I thought was staged at first. Mm-hmm. I thought it was staged at first, but I saw the unedited versions. I'm like, yeah, he smacked the hell out. But it's jokes, man. If he wanted to really, first of all, I don't think Chris Rock knew about her alopecia. He's probably thought that she was just had a bald cut and just as a hairstyle. Because I didn't know she had that condition. I don't listen to her TED Talks. I don't listen to her table talks. I don't know. red tape, so what the hell she calls them. I don't hear those. So I didn't know she had alopecia. I'm sure he didn't know either. Okay. I mean, hell, if he really wanted to take it there, he could have used some entanglement jokes.
Yeah, he really
if he
could.
really wanted to take it there. And people know that Chris Rock hits hard anyway.
Yeah.
He's funny, but he hits hard.
Yeah.
And comedians hit hard too. I mean, hell, Steve Harvey hits hard.
Yeah.
The late great Bernie Mac hits hard.
Yeah.
Hit hard. Cat Williams, Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle. The trans community still hate Dave Chappelle. So, I mean, come on, people, they hit hard. That's what makes comedians great.
Even in the situation with me with Dave Chappelle, where he wasn't even attempting to hit hard, the whole LGBTQ community took that a particular way. But I don't even want to get into that argument.
That's a whole nother podcast in of itself.
Especially with our viewers who want to say something potentially about it. Yeah, I don't even want to get into that right now. But I digress. We all know, like you said, to your point, comedians say things, have been saying things, and have done so for a while. But I'm gonna let you go ahead, finish your point, then I'm gonna go ahead and chime in with my views.
Well, the point is that they're jokes.
Yeah,
they're just jokes. And this was on the day that should have been the best night of Will Smith's life.
Yeah,
his career as an actor, doing his damn thing in the music space, finally being validated in the acting space. And what are we talking about? We're talking about the slap.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the Academy Award, but the Oscar Award for Best Actor he got from King Richard. That a movie that I plan to see on HBO. His words when he cried, when he talked about the Williams family, when he talked about Venus and Serena, and betraying Richard and the love that he felt in that family. Instead, we're talking about the slap. People have been talking about the slap. And I don't know how much it would ruin his career, but it definitely fucked up his brand. I think. Because again, it's hard. Let's put it this way. Chris Rock, he's a pro. He's a pro's pro.
Yeah.
Because I don't know many dudes who would just stand there and allow another grown man to smack him, open hand smack him. That's the ultimate form of disrespect. It's not the punch. It's a smack across your face. That is the ultimate form of disrespect. That's almost akin to spitting on someone.
Yeah.
Right? So for him to just but you notice that he almost went Brooklyn on him. You saw him with his right hand was like this, then he just came back. If you notice that he was like this when he got hit, he was like this. And then he's caught himself. So if it was the wrong person, well, hell, if it was most other people, it would have been a brawl on the stage.
Yeah.
It would have been very ugly.
Yeah.
Very ugly. And, but I'll say this, Chris Rock's probably going to parlay that into a big Netflix deal. with some specials a la Dave Chappelle in mind. But anyway, I talked enough about this segment, but this particular thing, but I just think it's just jokes. And Will Smith, that's a bad look, bro. That's a bad look, man. And that's a damn shame because it came on a night which should have been his most crowning achievement in his life.
Very true. Very true. To quote the late great Charlie Murphy, and to your point, slapping someone, especially a man slapping another man, is extremely disrespectful.
Right.
And even when it was fashionable for a man to slap another man, again, to quote Charlie Murphy, somebody had to die after that.
Yes.
The smack. I challenge you to a duel. They paced off 10 steps and someone died after that.
Right.
So for him to do that and to get away with it, well, one, Will knew that Chris, of course, is slappable. Had it been another Black comedian, there's a very short list of Black comedians that I felt as though that Will could have slapped and had no recourse.
Yeah.
A very small list. And he was very lucky that Chris Rock is one of those guys on that list, right?
And he knew it too. He knew it too.
Yeah,
he knew it.
Yeah, he most definitely knew it. And God, I don't want to have the too much of the conversation, but I will bring it up. Had it been another male comedian of another race, would he have responded the same way?
George Lopez.
Not the same race, but of another race.
George Lopez. George Lopez would beat the hell out of him.
Oh yeah, George Lopez would have fought him.
He's the LA dude. He's the LA cat. Come on now.
Most definitely. But
Jerry
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
It'd have been Seinfeld, Ricky Gervais, Dana Carvey, someone. I don't know if they would necessarily. Well, Ricky might have made that joke, but
Bill Burr would have beat the shit out of him too, though. Bill Burr is
another one that most definitely would have jumped on him.
He's tough.
So, but again, he knew who to go after, and that's why he did it. But again, to the whole point, of course, the joke from 2016 Oscars about Jada back then when they were looking to boycott the Oscars because, of course, the whole Oscars so white campaign that was going on then, and her looking to boycott because Will didn't get the nomination for the film that he was in back then. Compounded with this joke, compounded with the August Alsina and the entanglement jokes, and the fact that Will has been constantly looked at and being disrespected, and the fact that, of course, Jada outwardly reacted to the joke with her rolling her eyes.
Yeah.
All of that led up to him doing what he did. Now, there's some out there who believe that he was out there defending his wife, which, of course, he was, right?
Sure.
But there are different ways in which you could do that.
Right.
Yeah, and I already know that doing with assault is not the way to do it.
No.
He most definitely could have talked to him during the commercial break. He could have talked to him post-show, whatever, and still defended his wife.
Right.
You know, just because someone said something that you don't like,
you don't have to make an ass of yourself like that.
You don't have to make an ass of yourself, but not just that. He stole the moment from a lot of other people from that show. You know, do you remember who won the Oscar that Chris Rock was presenting at that moment?
You're talking about? Yes, I know you're talking about Questlove.
Questlove for the Summer of Soul documentary.
Yes.
You know, Questlove, another Philly dude.
That's right.
His moment was robbed because of that.
Yes.
And immediately after that, they asked Questlove about it. Questlove's like, I'm not going to talk about that. That's not, I'm here to talk about me and my accomplishment and my film.
Which was a great documentary on Hulu. For those you haven't seen it yet.
Yes, a wonderful documentary.
Yes.
His moment was robbed.
Yes.
Coda, the film that won Motion Picture of the Year, that moment got robbed. You know, even the Williams sisters moment, the Williams family, their moment was semi-robbed because of the slap taken away from Will winning the award. The fact that he had to kind of address it in his acceptance speech.
Right.
So, you know, not only did he rob a bunch of people of their moment from that night, because of course that is the only thing that we're really talking about from that night, but along with the fact that, oh my God, the fact that he went ahead and quoted Denzel Washington and said that, you know, when you're at your highest moment, the devil will try to rob it from you or whatever. Okay, so my question is this: who is the devil in this situation? Is Chris Rock the devil in this situation for telling a joke? Is Will Smith the devil in this joke by not showing restraint
and being an adult?
Right, being in this situation. Part. So who is the devil in this? And then again, I still feel as though that part of that is rooted in him being emasculated for the past year and a half based upon the confession of his wife coming out saying that she had an affair with a younger man.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's had to deal and suck that up for over a year and a half now.
Right.
And people making memes about it, making jokes about it. And now his opportunity to come out in defense of his wife, he walks on stage and he smacks a smackable dude.
Right. Because again,
had it been a grown man had it been another man that would not have dealt with that, I wonder how bold, how emboldened, and how brazen he would have felt to walk up there on stage.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
So all of the women out there that's celebrating this and saying that, you know, this is Will Smith coming out defending his wife. Yes, defend your wife, but there are other ways of doing so without assaulting someone, because now we're talking about things being relative here, right? If someone says or does, if you say or do something to someone that they may find offensive, even though you might not, and they come up to smack you, are they in the right?
Yeah.
Based upon what we saw, apparently so. But you know, it is what it is, man.
And this. Go ahead. Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You about to?
No, I was going to say, you know, or finish it off with, the thing is, you know, they've all moved on from it, man. I just hope that everyone else moves on from it too. But you know, to your point with Rock, if we do hear a joke from this, that means he's still bothered by it. But I doubt that he is.
He's petty. You know he's gonna come up with some shit. Come on now, this is Chris Rock talking about.
But yeah, it's interesting. I'm just disappointed in the way that Will has handled this, because my thing is, you know, if I'm out somewhere and I just happen to see Will Smith and he's performing, and he performs Miami or Boom Boom Shake the Room or Wild Wild West, I'm walking up on stage and I'm slapping him because I'm offended too.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. And here you go. Where's your come on, son? Where's your come on? I missed that sign. Missed that come on, son. Oh, you got it. Are you ready? Come on, say got upside down. Come on,
son.
Exactly. I mean, hell, we've heard of like comedians being insulted on people on stage before. That's happened. We just hadn't heard about it as much. But this is such a dangerous precedent. So again, bad moment for Will Smith. He ruined William Sisters' moment when his Oscar acceptance speech for that movie King Richard, and he ruined Questlove's moment, his Philly boy, for that great Summer of Soul documentary. And again, for those who hadn't seen the Summer of Love, it's on Hulu. It's been on Hulu.
Check it out.
Check it out. You'd be glad you did. You'd be glad you did. Trust me on that.
But I'll say this before we move on.
Yeah.
There has been discussion on whether or not Will Smith should have his Oscar revoked because of it. And the Academy is in the process of doing their own investigation. I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I didn't agree with the move, but no, he shouldn't have his award revoked.
Right.
No.
I agree. He won it.
He won it.
Just let him have it. Just let him have it. So this gets us to the HBCU segment. And I mentioned, and I was going to say the Oscar segment for the last segment, but the reason why I brought it up is because it's to set this up. Now, on social media, Jackson State University, their marketing department, they all deserve praise. Apparently, there's a video that's out where they they were members of the football team and staff while they were practicing. Or was it spring practice or doing?
Yeah, it's spring ball time now.
That's right. Yeah. So they went around asking both players and assistant coaches, what would they have done if Will Smith would have rolled up on him and slapped him a la Chris Rock? The responses are hilarious, especially Deion's response at the very end was classic, classic Coach Prime. So I'll let y'all check it out. Just Google. If you're on YouTube, just do a Google search for Jackson State, Will Smith. That's all you need. You'll find it. It's hilarious. But anyway, aside from that, there's some stuff happening, and this is your time to shine as usual, just to educate us on all things HBCU sports. So floor is yours.
Yeah, like you said, it is spring ball time. Everybody's getting it in right now. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna make my way to Greenfield this weekend to check out some Howard University spring ball myself. To see how this team is looking, with their new signees that they have. And chances are, wherever you are, if you're near HBCU, you'll probably be capable of checking out a team in their spring practice. Go to their official website or to their social media, and you can get the information on exactly when their practices are going to be. Now, we move on. Championship season. For bowling, actually, the bowling champions have been crowned in the 3 HBCU conferences that currently have them, that currently have women's bowling. And oddly enough, I have a mild connection or at least that secondhand connection to all three of these institutions. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the SWAC, of course. My good buddy Jennifer Williams, who used to be the athletic director over there at Alabama State. Congratulations to the women of Alabama, the Lady Hornets of Alabama State, for winning the SWAC championship in bowling. And then, of course, my neighboring HBCU here in the DC area, Bowie State. Congratulations to the Lady Bulldogs there for winning the CIAA bowling championship. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I don't talk about the Titans here.
All right.
Of HBCU athletics. I got to. Congratulations, Lady Aggies, once again on winning the 2022 MEAC Women's Bowling Championship, with the Bowler of the Year and the Coach of the Year being named this season as well from North Carolina A&T. So salute to the Lady Aggies on winning another MEAC championship. And the lone sport that A&T is participating in the MEAC. So congratulations to them. And then, of course, the final thing, we all know, and I had to go ahead and give a shout out to the city of New Orleans this weekend, because, of course, they are hosting the Final Four.
That's right.
With me wearing my the now defunct New Orleans Baby Cakes minor league baseball cap. You know, that's my little tip of the cap to them. But one thing, if you weren't familiar, of course, the games are Saturday and Monday for the national championship, but sandwiched in between will be the official inaugural HBCU All-Star basketball game.
Oh, wow.
Now, they were looking to have the All-Star game for the past two seasons in 2020 and 2021, but unfortunately, due to COVID, they had to postpone those games.
Right.
But this will be the first year that they actually have it. It's going to take place in New Orleans. There's going to be a skills competition for both, I think, the three-point and the slam dunk competition as well. There's several HBCU athletes that are going to be participating in that as well. But again, the HBCU All-Star game is going to be on Sunday, the 3rd, at 4 p.m. on CBS. So it's going to be on the big dog. So everybody have an opportunity to go ahead and check it out. That's 3 p.m. I'm sorry, that's 4 p.m. on the 3rd on CBS, on your local CBS network. And it's going to be between two teams. Team John McClendon. And of course, for those who are out there who are unfamiliar with John McClendon, of course, John McClendon is looked at as the father of Black basketball. He actually learned the game from Naismith. And of course, has been gone on to coach the likes of North Carolina Central, Kentucky State, and Tennessee State, and also is the first ever African-American head coach in professional sports. So it's a huge honor to have this team named after him. And the players that will play on Team McClendon come from the MEAC, the SEAC, and from the Big South as well, because they have a player from A&T and a player from Hampton on that squad too. And that team will be led by the HBCU All-Stars, Willis Reed NCAA Division I National Player of the Year, Kyle Foster, out of Howard, the dynamic guard that plays for the Bison. And also it will be coached by the HBCU All-Stars, Ben Jobe, Division I National Coach of the Year, Robert Jones of the MEAC champion, Norfolk State, and then the Jerry Johnson Division II Coach of the Year, Fred Watson out of Miles College. So they got a star-studded cast in terms of having the Division I, the Division II, and the Division I Player of the Year all on Team McClendon, and they will be facing Team Big House Games, which makes up players from the SWAC and the CIAA, which will be led by Division II, Sam Jones Division II Player of the Year, Jalen Segrist of the CIAA champion Fayetteville State Broncos, and that team will be coached by Landon Busey of Alcorn State and Corey Laurie of Lincoln, Pennsylvania. So again, you have these two all-star squads facing off on CBS this Sunday, 4 p.m. Check it out. This is going to be a big-time event. I want to make sure that this game gets as much pub as possible so that everyone can go ahead and check this game out, man. I'm intrigued to see how it's going to be. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go because the way my checking and savings are hooked up right now. And of course, with hotel prices being at NCAA Final Four prices, I did not plan for that. So hopefully I'll go ahead and plan for wherever the Final Four is going to be next year. I look forward to potentially being there in 2023.
You know what else came in the mail?
What's that?
Guess who's on the front
Woo!
cover? Our track stars. They're runners, they're track stars.
Guess who's been Zach? Yeah,
Yes.
that man on the right side, who of course is still racing at North Carolina A&T, one Randolph Ross.
Yes.
Everyone's going through their outdoor track and field season. The Raleigh relays were this past weekend. I think that I'm trying to remember where Howard ran. I think I can't remember exactly where they ran, but their 4x400 women's relay team won and did a wonderful job out there too. So again, getting ready for the outdoor conference championships this late May, in May, and then of course the outdoor national championships in June up in Eugene, Oregon. So I'm just waiting to see which HBCU athletes will be representing their institutions in the nationals as well. So that's what's been going on this past week. I can't wait to see how this All-Star game is going to play out. Then of course, again, with the spring games coming up, I'm going to most definitely peek in at those. And I think it's next week. I'm going to make most definitely
like you.
I'm going to most definitely confirm it next week if that is the date. Jackson State will be having their spring game televised on ESPN. I think it's next weekend on the 9th. I think that's when that date is. But again, I know someone's going to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that date, but I think that's when it is. But if it is next week, I most definitely have the details ready for everyone so they'll know exactly when to check that game out.
Nice. So a lot to look forward to. Y'all check it out this weekend. Hey, he laid it out there, so you can't say you don't know. You didn't know. So if you don't know, you do now. So no.
Correction, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That game will be April 24th, 5 p.m. on ESPNU. That is Sunday, April 24th at 5 p.m.
There you go. Thank you for that. And thank y'all for tuning to the Nice Podcast. Please check us out on YouTube. Check out the Waynes out. Links out, thehbcu.com, herosports.com, Sleazy Radio every Tuesday on Facebook Live, theclowntimes.net as well. Check the merch out, cafepress.com. Continue to like, get the merch, exactly. That's all I cut you off there.
That's all right.
Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, and sharing, because sharing is caring. And please enjoy the weekend, full college basketball, all that good stuff. So until next time, peace out.